What is going on, everybody in Masquad? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing a speed test between the Redmi Note 9S and the Moto G7 Power. Stay tuned.
What the?
As I said in the intro of this video here, this is going to be a speed test between the Moto G7 Power and the Redmi Note 9S. And I have a total of 5 different categories here that I do in my speed test videos. So if you're new to the channel, the first category is going to be the on-paper test, in which I discuss the specifications for each device. Now with the Redmi Note 9S here, we're going to have the Snapdragon 720 inside this device. I'm not 100% sure as to why it doesn't say it on the top here of CPU-Z, but it is that chipset. Of course, it's an octa-core chipset. It's going to have the Adreno 618 for the GPU. Now you're also going to have 4 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of internal storage. And out of the box, you get Android 10 with security patch of May 1st, 2020. Now with the Moto G7 Power here, we have the Snapdragon 632 inside this device. Although it says 636, do not get that confused. It's an octa-core chipset as well. It's clocked at 1.8 gigahertz. And it's going to have the Adreno 506 for the GPU. Now out of the box, the device is going to have 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of internal storage. And out of the box, the Moto G7 Power is going to be running Android 9 with security patch of April 1st, 2020. So as you saw there with the specifications on paper here, the Redmi Note 9S is going to take this W. It has a faster CPU inside this device, and it also has a gig more of RAM. And double the internal storage as well, but that's not really a factor here in this case, I'm assuming. So as of right now, the Redmi Note 9S is going to have a score of 1, and the Moto G7 Power has a score of 0. Let's get to the next part. Now with this next part of the speed test here, what we're going to be doing is the application opening and RAM management test, in which I open up several applications here that I have installed on each device to see which one opens the application faster. And then afterwards, I test the RAM to see which device can hold the applications better in the background. And so the first application we're going to open up here is Play Store in 3, 2, 1. That goes to the G7 Power. The next application is going to be YouTube. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. The next application is going to be Amazon. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S by a hair. The next application we're going to open up here is Best Buy. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. All right, let's go ahead and go to social media here. We're going to do Facebook in 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. Now the G7 Power is right behind it here. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. The next application we're going to open up here is Instagram. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. The next application we're going to open up here is Twitter. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. The next application we're going to open up here is Reddit. So 3, 2, 1. And that goes to the G7 Power. The next application we're going to open up here is Netflix. So 3, 2, 1. That goes to the Redmi Note 9S. And the last application we're going to open up here is Spotify. So 3, 2, 1. And that goes to the Redmi Note 9S. Now let's test the RAM. Play Store. Held in the background by both. YouTube. Held in the background by both. Amazon. I guess kind of a refresh by both. I'm not sure what happened there exactly. Best Buy. Held by both. Had a little error there with Facebook. It's asking me to log back in, so I'm going to disqualify that one. Instagram. Held by both. Twitter. held by both. Reddit, held by both. Netflix, held in the background by both. Really not a lot to hold there. And last but not least, Spotify, held in the background by both. So in the beginning of this test here, the Redmi Note 9S opened up almost every single application faster than the Moto G7 Power. But when it came to testing the RAM, the G7 Power was right there with the Redmi Note 9S. But for the reason of it opening up more applications faster and them having a tie in the RAM management part, I have to give this to the Redmi Note 9S, with it having a score now of 2 and the G7 Power having a score of 0. Let's get to the next part. So with this next part of the speed test here, what I'm going to be discussing is the AuTuTu benchmark numbers, the Geekbench numbers, and also I'm going to run a speed test on each device to see which one can pull down the faster down speeds. So as you can see here with the Redmi Note 9S, we got a score of 252,563, which is definitely more than 100,000 that the Moto G7 Power has here at 122,358. So definitely a huge difference when it comes to actual performance numbers on the AuTuTu benchmark. So that clearly goes to the Redmi Note 9S. Now with the Geekbench 5 numbers, you can see that we got a 567 for the single core score on the Redmi Note 9S and a 1,722 for the multi-core score. And then the G7 Power here, we got a single core score of 270 and the multi-core score of 1,108. So as you can see here, the Redmi Note 9S has higher numbers than the Moto G7 Power, and it's going to have to take this W as far as Geekbench as well. Let's go ahead and do that speed test. Now, just to let you guys know, I don't have the fastest Wi-Fi in the world here, but I do have both devices connected to the same network. It's on a 2.4 gigahertz band, so let's go ahead and get that to test right now. And we're going to start with the Redmi Note 9S. See how fast it gets for the down and the up. Okay, and so for the Redmi Note 9S here, we got a down score of 43.9 and an upload score of 23 megabits. So let's go ahead and test it on the G7 Power. And with the Moto G7 Power here, we got a down of 37.8 and an up of 21.8. So definitely slower on the download speeds and the upload speed. So this has been a complete shutout on the speed test here as far as the Geekbench AuTuTu and speed test app. So as we saw there with the Geekbench numbers, the AuTuTu benchmark numbers, and the speed test results there, the Redmi Note 9S is going to take this W once again, and it's currently going to have a score of 3, and the Moto G7 Power is going to have a score of 0. Now in the real world test, 3 out of 5 categories that one device wins or that one particular party wins is an automatic W in my book. But in this case here, we're going to do this for entertainment as we always do and get to the next part of the speed test. Now with this next part of the speed test here, what we're going to be doing is installing 3 of the top applications here from the Play Store, and we're going to see which device can actually install the application faster. Now 2 out of 3 is going to get the W here, so let's see who can actually pull away with it. The first app is going to be Zoom Cloud Meeting here, really popular app during this pandemic here. So 3, 2, 1. Keep in mind here, both devices are on the same Wi-Fi network, so it's going to be a pretty fair test. And that goes to the Redmi Note 9S. Happened so quick. So let's get to the next application here, which is going to be WhatsApp. In 3, 2, 1. Looks like the G7 Power is off to a head start here. Let's see what happens. And that goes to the G7 Power. So now we have one-on-one for each device. So let's get to the third application, which is going to be Newsbreak, and see who will run away with a W here. In 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see what happens. Looks like the Redmi Note 9S is already installing. And the Redmi Note 9S takes this W. So as you saw there with the application install test, the Redmi Note 9S installed 2 to 3 applications faster than the Moto G7 Power, but the G7 Power did get 1 in. But that doesn't really count here in these speed test videos. And as of right now, the Redmi Note 9S has 4 and the G7 Power has 0. Let's get to the final part of the speed test here and see if this device can actually shut the G7 Power out. So with the final part of my speed test here, what I'm going to do is just simply do a restart or just turn off the device and power it back on to see which device can actually do that faster. Now, if I got some money, I'm going to put the money on the G7 Power because it is a pretty fast rebooting phone. But let's see what happens in 3, 2, 1. And I'll just speed this part of the video up just to save you guys some time. And that goes to the Moto G7 Power. So to sum this video all the way up here, did I think the Redmi Note 9S was going to take this one here? Of course. I also thought it was going to shut the Moto G7 Power out, but on the last speed test there, that's where the actual W for the G7 Power came into play. It rebooted faster than the Redmi Note 9S. Does that really count for something? Yes, because it didn't end up being 5-0, it ended up being 4-1. So my squad, let me know in the comment section below, who did you think was going to win this speed test here between these two devices? Did you think it was going to be the Redmi Note 9S by a landslide, or did you think the Moto G7 Power was going to come back fighting? But if you're new to the channel here, or if you're a Mass Squad member, of course, like this video so that other people just like you can get a little bit of help when it comes to researching budget devices like the Redmi Note 9S and the Moto G7 Power. Also, consider subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss any coverage with the Redmi Note 9S or any other budget device that I decide to bring to the channel in a future video. But, Max Squad, be sure to share the video with your friends and family and let them know that not all Android cameras suck. It is just not true. But until then, my name is Max Rock. Thank you for watching this video. Have a good day, y'all. Deuces.